Good evening. There are new shocks in a police scandal with the officer who shot and killed a pet dog facing the sack. As 9 News revealed this morning, the constable tested positive to methamphetamine, and we can now reveal his property was searched and drugs found. Tonight, the dog's owner is calling for a corruption inquiry.
This police officer has been stood down, not for shooting and killing a pet dog, but for taking methamphetamine. For Biggie's owner, Pat Warham, it's not a coincidence.
Well, he's been stood down for testing positive for a drug test, but he hasn't been stood down for shooting my dog. When if you link them both together, I believe that's why he was trigger happy.
But the police commissioner says the officer's drug use had nothing to do with his decision to shoot.
Well, there's two separate incidents. This is a separate issue, and there's two separate incidents. Now we have a separate incident.
It's not right. The whole world can see it's not right.
If this officer is someone who takes drugs, he's someone who makes bad decisions, and we say shooting Biggie was another bad decision.
But the officer's troubles could run deeper than just drug use. 9 News has been told a search on his property uncovered drugs, which means he could face criminal charges.
Can you explain why his house was raided after the test and what was seized?
No, I'm not in a position to explain that detail.
Mr Warham and his lawyer met with detectives yesterday. They were told the officer had used justifiable force when he killed Biggie on a Kinross Street. They asked detectives whether he was drug tested after the incident.
They told us specifically that a decision was made not to drug test him.
We don't drug test officers when they destroy an animal.
But he was randomly drug tested the next day. It came up negative. 4 weeks later, a second drug test. This time he had meth in his system.
They said the police officer was reasonable and they knew that he was undertaking a drug test, and they didn't tell us that he's tested positive.
9 News understands he and 2 other frontline police officers were at Stereosonic Music Festival on Sunday. The next day they were tested. All 3 have now been stood down and will likely lose their jobs.
Perhaps he is someone who uses drugs regularly and actually was needing drugs at the time he pulled the trigger. We'll never know the answers to all of these questions.
How sure are you that this officer was not an addict?
Well, I don't know any of the personal details of this officer at this stage.
Mr Warham and his legal team are now taking the matter to the Corruption and Crime Commission.
I don't want this to happen to anyone else, and they're not going to get away with it.
Jerry Damasi, 9 News.